All right, we are now live at the fifth round of the Indy Karting Challenge, and it's going to be starting off something a little bit different. We've got the Blue Shock EVs to start off qualifying right now. You can see them all getting out on track, and it seems like a pretty full class. Let me double check that is in fact the Blue Shocks right there, but it's a new class here at the Indy Karting Challenge, so it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how these karts handle and how they race. And we got a kart spun around on the start, and they got going again, all good there. So these guys are gonna get out, get some qualifying laps in, and yeah, we've got the Blue Shock EV X4 and the EV X5 is what I'm seeing. So two different classes there. Um, I haven't seen an electric class in a while. You know, you have the K1 kind of championship tournament thing, but this is a bit new, and it's gonna be interesting to see what we've got there. So we've got a pretty full class right now. I've already got 14 names popped up on the timing board for this Blue Shock class. And Cameron, how do you think this is gonna these carts are going to handle compared to your regular four-stroke and two-stroke carts?
Yeah, it seems to still be a pretty competitive class and maybe a little bit more of an entry level and a way to get started in the sport here. So we've got a 5-minute qualifying session on deck. So that will be a pretty short session as our first time around. Our drivers are running roughly 44 seconds. So they'll only get about 4 to 5 laps as they are starting to get up to pace here for their second lap. We see a couple of drivers working together, similar to what we do in the 206 stuff, as we're starting to round out our second lap and getting up to pace here in qualifying.
Yeah, so first competitive session of the day. Obviously they had the warm-ups, but track's still probably going to be a little bit needs a little bit of rubber down to get that best grip. But you've already got Jared Clark with the 43.8 to top the session, set a benchmark time, and there's not really anyone close to him so far. So we do have multiple classes on track right now, but the top of I believe that is the Blue Shock X5 is going to be Richardson. So, you've got a nice mix there back and forth, but doesn't seem to be anyone getting close to Jared Clark's time right now. You've got kind of a good spread between the two different classes. And there you go. Carnus goes up to seventh, and Stoughton's going to go to sixth. So slight improvement. And Spears cuts into that gap a little bit, but still not showing much hope in getting that pole position right now. But it's going to be 2.5 minutes left, running 43-second laps. So there's going to be a fair amount of time to get some more laps in to see if anyone can take that provisional pole away from Clark.
Jared Clark, a driver that we've seen run up front at many different series, including the KA package as well as the Briggs and Stratton 206 package. So a driver who is not uncomfortable here on the front row. He'll still be your pole sitter as he comes around for another lap. He'll cross the line here shortly. But as it sits, a 4/10 gap separates Jared Clark and Keelan Spears. With roughly 2 minutes left, we'll see if anybody's able to close in that gap to Jared Clark. Grayson Knoll currently in the third position. Jared Clark crosses the line and does not go any quicker that time by. He'll run a 44 flat. As Spears is getting close to rounding out that final corner and heading across the start finish line, we'll see what he's able to pull out as one driver trying to get back on the track there with the help of some of our corner workers. That time by, Keelan Spears is able to close the gap just a little bit. Now just under 4/10 separates Jared Clark and Spears, but still ultimately it's Clark on the pole position with 1.5 minutes left in this qualifying session.
Yeah, so you can see um, I don't know if they're gonna start the races with these two classes kind of intermixed, or if they're gonna have them fully set. Actually, no, Blue Shocks are gonna be together on track, but I don't know if they're gonna grid them by class yet. But it seems like Yamori has got pole position pretty well secured for the second class as well. I think the gap there is 3/10, so still not a guarantee, but it doesn't look like Darius is gonna bite into that time anymore right now. But we could see a bit more as he crosses the line and sets a 45-1. So still gonna be uh, around the same for that. But you know, going down a little bit further, we've got 2, 3, and 4 are all running a little bit closer. Well, four's kind of a couple tenths off, but Spears and Knoll are two times that are kind of almost right on top of each other, separated by a couple hundredth of a second. And I haven't seen this class race before, but I can imagine it'd be a little bit similar to the 206 stuff, where you've got to work together a little bit more on the start, try to build a gap up. And we got someone with, I believe, Kart Trouble. Not sure who that was, but hopefully they can get back going again. And you can see Jack Linder has jumped up to fourth. We haven't really seen him much in the top five there, but that's going to be it for the Blue Shot qualifying. So Jack Linder had a little last minute jump up to the top five. That's going to be nice for his race. And Julian Trout is also going to jump up a few positions at the checkered flag. So Jared Clark is going to be your pole sitter for the Blue Shocks, and definitely going to be ready to see. I think he might be registered in a couple other classes today, but I'm not sure. So
As some of our
getting ready
final
to.
drivers are crossing the line here to round out their session, see if anybody's able to go any better. Doesn't look like it. So it'll be Jared Clark still on your pole in Blue Shock 5 and Yamori Richardson in Blue Shock 4.
Yeah, and now we have got the grid set up for the KA Senior Masters Junior, a little bit of all the KAs together for qualifying. So you've got the I think that is the 79 getting ready to go up front, get a nice little early jump into qualifying. So um KA's, obviously going to be a little bit different. I haven't seen what times they've ran in the actually I do have it pulled up. So Jordan LePayne is the driver to watch for qualifying right now. He ran a 45 flat and the warm up today, which was actually the fastest of any of the times, even beating out some of the seniors. So definitely got some pace in that cart. Dane Van Dyke was the best of the seniors in warm up. So those are going to get kind of the two guys you want to maybe keep an eye on, see if they're going to get first in their respective classes again. So that's going to be nice to see as we finally get the last of the Blue Shocks into the pits. Getting ready to send the two strokes out here, and you can see they're getting a little jumpy in the pits right now. But gonna be excited to see what happens here. You got any predictions for the other people we got in this class?
Yeah, I think it's a short qualifying session, like we previously mentioned, only 5 minutes. So it'll be whichever driver's able to settle in quickly and kind of compose themselves to put together a solid lap here. As we do have a mix of classes, like you mentioned, it'll be difficult to put yourself in the best position to set the lap up to ultimately set yourself up for qualifying, right? Not run into lap traffic or run into a driver who might be in an opposing class and ultimately hurt your run there. So it'll be whichever driver is able to kind of pull it together and put a lap together with only 5 short minutes as our drivers start to enter the track here. And we'll get that switched over on our left for the updated names as our KA drivers will be crossing the line for their first lap shortly.
Yeah, and you're definitely gonna want to run, or like it's really gonna be a game of who can get their tires in that window first, as Van Dyke is going to be leading the group out. You saw one of the carts in the back kind of like pull off to the side, maybe want to get a bit of a clean run, not have to worry about anyone ahead. So starting in that mid pack, you're going to have to kind of hope that everyone ahead of you keeps pushing around the same pace or even better than you, or else you're going to be kind of to back off a lap, and that's definitely not going to be great in a 5 minute qualifying session. You can see there's two carts right here working together a little bit, so we're getting close to our first time to see what benchmark Van Dyke is going to set as the first cart out on track, leading this group away. And a 45.5 is going to be time to beat Jordan LePayne with a 46 flat and Abram Dean with a 45.9. So already a little bit of a gap built up for Van Dyke, but you can see everything after that is running pretty close right now. Um, this is also a pretty, I was looking at the track map. It doesn't seem like there's too many low speed corners there. I mean, you have a couple hairpins, but otherwise it's a lot of rolling speed corners. You have that high banked corner. So really you got to make sure you're getting your exits down, because that's going to determine a huge part of the lap, as opposed to, some tighter circuits that you might see. So throughout the rest of the field, it is pretty close right now. Abram Dean, Jordan LePayne's actually going to take second away from Dean as I bring him up, and Wade is going to jump up a few spots. Nash is going to jump up a few spots, and then that is going to be the 808 jumping up to third. So everyone's kind of still moving around, getting settled in. Don't see really anyone besides two guards right now working together. So everyone's kind of offering their own thing, and that's kind of the benefit of a smaller class. You get kind of no worry about anybody, getting in the way of your lap, as you see with some major fields, which you might have with the 206s today.
So we're watching some of our drivers here, kind of in the middle of our session, getting close to that halfway mark. The pace is starting to pick up. We see AJ Lund able to go purple with a 44.6. He'll jump to the top of your charts and push Dane Van Dyke down into the second position. Then AJ crosses the line there again, able to run a 44.2. So he now opens up a 6/10 gap over the second place driver of Dane Van Dyke. You can see the track here has a lot of interesting characteristic with some elevation change, as the two drivers there on your screen running pretty closely together, trying to set themselves up for the best lap possible with that little bit of draft here on the front straightaway. As they'll cross the line, see if anybody's able to go better. That'll be Nolan Wade and Tyler Nash Turner, currently sitting in the 6th and 7th position. So as it sits still, AJ Lund, your pole sitter, he'll cross the line again. Doesn't go any better. With 2 minutes left in this session, we'll roughly get another 2, maybe even 3 laps, depending on where your drivers sit on the track at the moment. As still Nolan and Tyler working together on that back straightaway, trying to get every little bit out of the draft that they can to maybe get that last little bit that they need, roughly a second off the pace here. They'll need to find a good bit working together.
Yeah, and AJ Lund is also doing a bit of double duty today. He's racing in 206 Senior, so it's going to be a little bit nice to get some extra track time. Right now, he's leading the pack for the KAs. He was third in warm up for 206, but we can definitely not count him out for qualifying first. But the micros are up next. It's a little bit of a smaller version of the two stroke, but right now we've got a couple drivers. Dan Van Dyke is about to cross the line, and it's going to be no improvement. No improvement for Van Dyke. And Jordan LePayne goes a little bit faster with a 44.5, but doesn't move him up any. So, and looks like Nolan Wade is going to jump, and 808 is going to take it right back. That is the machine of Sifu Kumar. And AJ Lund is going to set another benchmark time, going fastest yet again with a 43.9. So AJ Lund is really making everybody work for their times right here. You can see a little bit of the work together we saw earlier, maybe not anymore. And can anybody get a last lap in? Van Dyke is going to go faster, but it's not going to be enough. And Lepine is not going to improve on that previous time. So Van Dyke closed that gap down to 2/10, but AJ Lund just set such a big gap with his best lap that it's going to be not enough. And I think that is going to be the checkered flag for the session. So AJ Lund, your pole sitter for the KA class as we get ready to go to the micros. But, gonna let all these guys get into the pits. So, gonna be interesting to see where anybody's gonna go for moves here and to see if those two drivers that we saw work together in the qualifying are gonna still work together in the race, or if they're gonna try to, one stays ahead and switch back and forth. All right, we are now waiting for the micro carts to go out on track. A bit of a smaller class today for the micros, but still going to be good to get that track time out there. Always good to get some practice in them. Take a look real quick. It looks like we do have more in the micro and mini class. We just don't see any of them on the grid yet. I'm gonna micro mini. So seems like we're missing quite a few people on the grid right now. There was 4 in the minis, and can't find the micro list, but maybe looking to get a few more carts on grid. Maybe they're going to be missing qualifying, but we'll see what happens with that. Or actually, this looks like a. We'll see. All right, and they are now going to be taken out on track. You see 3 of the same make of carts, so going to be nice to see kind of the, a little bit of uniformity there. But so you do see 2 carts already starting to maybe work together. I don't know if it's going to stay that way whenever we do get some laps going in, but little looking at who to look for right now. James Fox was the fastest in the warm up this morning with a 47.4, but it was a pretty close session. So we can expect to see maybe a back and forth between Fox and Zen. Right now, you can see they're all bunched up right now. We got one guy trying to get a little bit of a gap for himself. So James is going to be that cart up ahead running solo. You got the 3 micros behind running possibly in a draft. So um, right now it's going to be a little bit slower times, really not too much of a difference between their senior class and these 2 strokes. But checking the shoulder back for that. I hope to see these guys work together, but you might see them kind of one guy wants to be ahead, other guy also wants to be ahead, switch back and forth, might take away from the times that you're going to help Fox out more. And we've got a this is a very nice class because you're a little bit limited on the power, so it focuses a bit more on your how you're turning the cart. That's kind of the idea behind these younger classes to really teach the fundamentals of driving. So at a track like this, we really got to focus a lot more on your exits, especially on this part here, because you can see how long you're full throttle for. It's going to make a huge difference. And James Fox did set the fastest time with the 47.6 to start. And Zen and Diesel are going to be close together, but not to Fox just yet. But maybe you can see them jump a little bit up further that gap. Fox is going to be crossing the line once again. Let's see if he improves. And that is an improvement 47.3. And Zen is going to make that a 47.6. So that gap is already down to 3/10. Maxwell didn't have as good of a lap as Zen did. And Miles with the 50.5. So pretty, I'd say, decently close field right now between your top three. We're going to see Maxwell maybe try to cutting a little bit. He's kind of lost a little bit of that working together. Maybe he backed off, tried to get his own clean run. So we'll see right now because I know two strokes aren't as much of a work together dependent class as you see in the four strokes, the Briggs racing. But James Fox getting ready to head across the line yet again. A short qualifying session. Is he going to improve? 47.1 for James Fox. So he is cutting away at that gap, and Zen is trying to breach it down. He's got it down to a 47.3. So, the lap that Zen would have set now would have been pulled to start, but, these times are constantly getting better. These guys are going back and forth trying to see who's going to set the final time because, we got a 2.5 minutes left. So you could see Zen get up into that pole position, but right now it just looks like he's always right on the coattails of James Fox.
As we're just about halfway done with this qualifying session, your three top car drivers currently leading us off with James Fox still in the lead there. He'll cross the line again, go a little bit better with a 47.1. Zen will then try to match him with a 47.2. So a little over a tenth there separates the two of them. And a little bit bigger gap to Diesel Maxwell and Miles Hale behind them. But on your screen here, James Fox trying to put his best lap together to hold that pole position and over Zen as we see him rounding out the last corner here, heading back towards the start finish line. His top kart teammate behind him there. We'll see what he's able to do. A little bit better that time by a 47.007. Zen Veach will not go any quicker, so he'll need now 0.281, almost 3/10 to close that gap back up to the lead. With a minute left, they'll surely get one more lap, potentially two. Still on your screen is James Fox, your current pole position leader with a 3/10 gap over Zen Veach, Diesel Maxwell, roughly 1 second off at the moment, and Miles Hale 1.9 seconds off that pole position time. So for those other two drivers, Maxwell and Hale, they've got a little bit to find on this racetrack to keep it a little bit of a tighter race. Now, mind you, this is a mix of mini and micros. So it's potential that we could have two different drivers in different classes here. As we're watching some of our top car drivers head through that back section and make their way back towards the front of the track.
Yeah, so James Fox on provisional pole right now. It's going to be checkered flag as he crosses the line again, and we got to see if Zen is going to make any better on his time. 46.8 for James, and it's going to stay that way. 4/10 gap. Can Zen close it down as he crosses the line and is going to stay the same? So James Fox is on pole unless Diesel can pull something off here. And no, that is going to be pole position for James Fox in the 67 machine. As we get ready now to go to 206 Senior, which is a bit of a jump up in power and a little bit of a different engine, different driving style for qualifying. Also a bit of a larger class. Person to watch there, fastest in warm up was Adam Maxwell, but it is a very competitive class. So It's going to be very interesting to see how everybody works together in qualifying as we're on the grid getting ready to go out for qualifying. All right, Chuathic Senior is now taking to the track to qualify a bit of a larger class. It looks like we had 10 people in the warm up, so, or that was junior. Looks like we had also 10 people in the warm up. So, already see a couple packs formed, 4 carts up front, 4 carts back there, and you got 2 drivers, I believe, going to be working a little bit solo. Um, you can see field's already spread out a little bit. 206 Senior is definitely a class where you're going to want to, have someone to work with in qualifying because otherwise you're going to be a little bit left out to dry. And you can see someone's already got trouble going off into either the pits. So, not the best qualifying session for them. Um, Cameron, you've got a lot of experience with qualifying in 206 Senior. What do you think is going to be the best option here?
Yeah, we see a lot of our Amex Coyote drivers here out front. The 4 drivers currently on your screen working together, trying to get that best lap with Adam Maxwell pushing his teammate of Raider Santos at the moment. So honestly, I think Maxwell's probably in the best position to go pole for this session. Looks like he'll push his teammate here for a few laps, try to get the 2 of them up front. He'll actually end up crossing him over, coming out of that last corner and going to the lead here across the line. So move Adam Maxwell. He'll go pole that time by as well. We'll see if Santos is able to hold on to him, use that draft to his advantage. AJ Lund, he'll jump to the top, a driver that we saw in KA just a few moments ago. He was super quick in that class. So looking to double up for today and go pole position in 206 Senior as well. So as it sits at the moment, you've got your 2 Amex drivers on your screen. 2 of them trying to work together to get a nice little tow here as they're heading back towards the final couple corners of this track. Again, only 5 minutes, so they need to use as much of this clean air to their advantage as they can to set the best lap possible, as the rest of the field is pretty spread out and doesn't have the advantage of having that draft. So we'll take a look at the times. AJ Lund will jump to the top. He'll continue to defend that pole position this time with a 49.8. with just about 3 minutes left in this session. You can see everybody starting to space out except for our two other AMAX drivers who are now going side by side down into the back hairpin. Able to get clear there for one of the drivers. So now everybody pretty much spaced out as we're just about halfway done with this session.
Yeah, you can see they've been mixing it up back and forth. You saw Adam Maxwell is going to go up yet again. Santos moving Wilbur Santos. Everyone's back and forth. So as I said, this is a very competitive class. Probably the most competitive class we'll see today. AJ Lund is still in the lead with the 4/10 gap behind, but we can expect to see that down. As you can see, three karts are now either working together or trying to switch positions back and forth. Yeah, I can see they're going to be fighting during qualifying, which is going to be a little bit less than ideal for your times, but you do have the draft, so maybe it'll work out for both of them. It's going to be a bit tight, so a bit of a compromise line through there. Um, so Tonka Jahari up into second for a little bit, looking to have a shot at pole, drop back down to third, but still anyone's chance still. Adam Maxwell's going to cross the line with the 49.8, cut into that gap. Ryder Santos 50.0. And Tonka Jahari is going to go back up to second with a 49.7. So, Goldman's going to jump up to seventh. So everybody's still, trading spots here. It's really hard to call anything aside from Lund right now. And even then, that's not guaranteed because with that draft, if they start to work together a little bit more, that could really eat into the gap that AJ Lund has built up. Because you can see it's already down to 2/10. It was 4/10 earlier. And right now you can see the groups getting ready to all cross the line again. They've all kind of been working together a little bit more in this last bit of qualifying. And Adam Maxwell is going to jump up to second with a 49.6. And AJ Lund again sets another benchmark time. And Santos, Allen, well, there's two Santos actually. So Ryder Santos, Nico Santos, now going to be right next to each other. Allen is going to not improve on that slat lap. King did improve, but a 49.4, so still close, but he just keeps on moving the goalposts for all these drivers behind him. With 30 seconds left in the session, it's going to be a battle to see if anyone can, steal that provisional pole away from AJ Lund. You see those three partners right there trying to work together. Maybe the draft will come through this time, help them out. You see another has added on to the back of that a little bit. Adam Maxwell's crossed the line with 49.5. It's going to eat into that gap even more, but it's not going to be enough as AJ Lund moves the goalpost once again. Ryder Santos is now going to be ahead, or Nico Santos. Goldman finishes the session, so Lund, Maxwell, Jahari, Alan Santos, Ryder, Nico, Radar, Nico, Levi, Andrew, Chad, Gavin, all competitive drivers here. So that was probably the closest qualifying we've seen today, and AJ Lund was able to seal it off provisionally on pole position. Oh, and as we cross the line, Radar Santos is going to move up ahead of Allen. So that was a checkered flag, last chance thing. So he's going to be up in a fourth. So that's going to be a little bit appreciated for him. And yeah, we're going to be getting all these drivers back into the pits as we get ready to send out 206 Junior. All right, we now see 206 Junior heading out to the track to qualify, and these guys are all packed up now. You might see a couple of them drop back a little bit, but gonna be a couple more drivers getting out of the pits right there. And looking at the warm-up, you can expect to see Parker Dunn in that top group. So gonna be interesting to see. There's a couple more drivers that we saw from KA. Sivu Kumar and Nash Turner, both double dutying today as well, alongside Lund, but in the 206 Junior class. So a couple drivers that you're going to see more times today than just one class. You're going to see a couple packs have formed up. So Sivu Kumar is going to be leading this group away now with Seward behind and Nash Turner in the back of that front pack. You can see a little bit of a tighter pack behind them for 206 Junior, but they're going to be battling, so I don't know if that's going to be the most ideal option for this qualifying session, but 206 Junior, a little bit of the limited on the power, but you're still going to be pretty close times to the senior class. Cameron, you've got a couple 206 Junior drivers that you manage with your own team. What would you tell them for qualifying at a short session like this?
Yeah, it's all about maximizing your lap, getting yourself into some clean air so that you can focus on hitting your marks, putting the best lap possible together to set ourselves up for the rest of the day. Qualifying is such a crucial part of what we do here in the sprint karting world, and so setting yourself towards the front of the grid is crucial to having a good weekend with a little bit larger field like this one. With 10 karts, it might be slightly difficult to find yourself from further back in that pack towards the front. So we see a lot of our drivers still spaced out at the moment. Definitely would have liked to see some of those teammates working together and kind of using that as an advantage for them.
Yeah, and Maximus Seward is going to set the benchmark time, and Siva Kumar had it for a half second, but is going to go back to Seward as he sets a 41.2, but that is a marginally tight gap between the top two right now, and it's going to get even smaller as Avalos is going to jump up to third with a 300th gap. So you can see right now the top five is separated by less than a tenth of a second. And then beyond that, it's a little bit further spread out, but still very competitive between Wade and Nash Turner. You see they're right on top of each other's times. That is 0.02 of a second between Wade and Nash Turner. And Marsh Klebe going to be trying to get up to that time. So really, it's too early to call anyone on who's going to be starting on pole position. Because as I said, Parker Dunn was the fastest in the warm-up, but right now he's down in fourth. Again, you saw Siva Kumar almost take that pole position, but it just goes right back to Seward. And the whole field's basing up now. Wade and Nash Turner down to the bottom. Dunn up in the third. Avalos Klebe go with them. So we are still seeing a little bit of a gap now built up from provisional pole, but it is still super tight between all those packs. You see drivers working together, and that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. That's the best option for you in qualifying. You don't want to be kind of trying to take a couple tenths out of your people you're working with here and there. And even if you don't know anyone at the track, you can still kind of hook up onto the bumper of someone to try to get a little bit of a draft, because they're not going to mind the extra help from behind. And Seward's going to not improve on that last time. Siva Kumar is with a 50.7, so that gap is going to go down again, and Bokma is going to go up into third. Wade's down to fourth. Parker Dunn down to fifth. And Klebe into second. Going to split the gap there with a super tight run. This is the tightest I've seen qualifying today, and we could see even more improvement. Nash Turner was right there. Now he's down to the bottom, but we could see, as he crosses the line, him jump back up. Feldake is down in ninth now, but he was a little bit kind of in that mid-pack earlier. And Eli Marsh is another driver that we've seen have a little bit of potential. We might see him get back up into that top 5, top 3 maybe. But Seward is going to be crossing the line again. Let's see what he does. No improvement there, but Siva Kumar also no improvement. So can Klebe take this opportunity to jump up? Feldlake is gonna jump up one position, and it's gonna be no improvement for the top three. So Parker Dunn did jump up into fourth again. So you know, again, your top six now are all separated by a tenth of a second, with the bottom four not that far behind. So this is definitely what we were expecting to see in the 2-6 senior qualifying. Everyone working together. Going to be very interesting to see how these guys race together, if they're going to be working together this much in qualifying. Once you get to the race, it goes gloves off. But also 10 seconds left in the session. Will we see any improvement? We will not, from anybody, it seems, in terms of position. What a session for the 206 junior class.
Yes, checkered flag is out now. Our drivers crossing the line for the final time, but I believe this 4-pack on your screen might still have this final lap. I'm unsure if they got the checkered flag or if they passed just before the line. We still see them tucking. These 4 drivers have gotten another lap. They've squeezed just barely by that start-finish line as we were ticking down the last few seconds as they were crossing the line. So the 4 of your drivers here on the screen going to try to see what they can do to put it on pole as they'll cross the line here for the final time. Here comes the rest of the field just shortly behind them. And checkered flag is out. And it'll be the 808 of Jiju Siva Kumar with a 50.625 for the provisional pole position in 206 Junior.
Yeah, we were talking about how it could be anyone's game here, and it was really to the end, even with that last second, last lap shot for provisional pole. We can now expect to see the 206 Master Supermaster class getting ready to go out, so we'll be ready for them. .206 Master and Supermaster going out on track now. Similarly sized field. In fact, might see a little bit more in this master class, but yeah, a little bit of a larger field here, but gonna be interesting to see. You can see a couple people. It seems like they've that is still the our previous timing. We're just gonna refresh as they cross the line for the first time. But 206 Master gonna be racing pretty similar to the previous 4-stroke classes we've seen. Gonna be interesting to see if any of these guys are gonna be working together as much as we saw in the 206 junior class. Troy Tony is gonna be leading this group away. with seems like Nick Bailey rounding out the back of the pack. But you can already see a pack of four has formed up right there. You know, a pack of three kind of getting closer together. And the middle, Troy Tony up front by himself. So maybe this draft, you know, you've got a little bit rubber laid down on the track now from all the sessions you've already had today. So we could expect to see these times really drop down, maybe even beat some of the senior carts that we saw. But you know, the same idea is just a little bit different on the weight, I believe, but no engine buffer. So Troy Tony is going to set the benchmark time with a 51.2, and McLaughlin's going to be right behind with a 8/10 gap, but still going to be eating into that a little bit more as these guys get up to temp. You know, we saw in the last qualifying that your first lap doesn't really mean anything. Once you get settled in a little bit later to the sessions, when it really starts to kick in, you know, your tires have to get up to temp. You don't want your best time to be your second lap. You know, you got to build the temperature a little bit more. You can see that middle pack is starting to group up a little bit more. I don't know if they're going to keep working together as much. You can see one of those cards is going to take a little bit of a tighter entry into there. But so far we can expect to see a very close session as Troy Tony is going to set a 50.7. Brian Williams is going to get a 4/10 gap. McLaughlin is going to improve. Everybody's improving over the line. Chad King, 53.1. You know, you can see already everybody's already moving back and forth up and down the timing grid. And you've got one driver with a issue going back to the pits, so going to be an unfortunate early end to qualifying for them. But you know, going to be really nice to see if Troy Tony is going to, you know, keep it on provisional pole, or if someone else in the middle is going to kind of steal away from him.
At the moment, Troy Tony will cross the line again. He'll go better with a 50.6. He's still leading us off on his triple four, the Haas machine, a driver who's had pace here time and time again, winning round four just a little bit under a month ago. So he's looking to back himself up. A driver that's out in front with no draft and still able to be 6/10 quicker than Brian Williams in that second position. So on your screen here, we've got a couple of drivers working together, trying to use that draft to their advantage to see what they can do to close in that gap. One driver going all the way to the bottom there. Looks like he might be trying to make a move. He'll be able to go through onto the third place driver into that pack. A little bit unsure of just exactly who these drivers are. It's pretty difficult for us to read the numbers here for you guys, so I apologize. We'll continue to sharpen up our skills throughout the day as we head into some racing, as some more drivers go side by side there across the line. With about a minute and a half left, Troy Tony will still be our pole sitter. He was able to go even better that time by with a 50.3. Still holds a 6/10 gap over the 475 of Brian Williams and a 1.1 second gap over the number one of William McLaughlin. So on your screen there is Troy Tony in that Haas machine, sliding down in his seat, trying to get every little bit of wind resistance out to ultimately go quickest that he can down the front straightaway. With about a minute left, he'll get another lap in on this qualifying session.
Yeah, and you can see Bullock is going to jump up the timing charts with a 41.8, split a couple drivers apart. And, you know, we've got a bit of a working pack together here, a little bit more spread out now. We could see them potentially do what the juniors did and squeeze out an extra lap. I don't know if it's going to make the difference like it did in junior, but you still now you got kind of packs of two working together instead of the massive pack that you had earlier. No improvement for Tony on that last lap. Williams crosses the line, no improvement either. McLaughlin's going to cross the line, and it's going to be 41-3, but it's not going to be enough to improve, and that's going to be checkered flag for the session. I believe Tony Williams and McLaughlin got a extra lap in, but I don't know if it's going to be necessary. Stevens is going to jump up a couple positions, so Bullock in fifth, and or actually we have two Stevens, so Joseph Stevens up into fourth, Tom Stevens in seventh, Chad King kind of in the middle of that pack right now. I think he's going to be crossing the line again, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything for him. So, yeah, all the drivers pulling into the pits now. And that is going to wrap up your 206 Master Supermaster qualifying with 206 Cadet coming up next. All right, 206 Junior getting ready to take to the track as they go. You're going to see a lot of the same drivers from Micro and Mini. Diesel, James Fox, McNeely, and Hale are going to be your 206 Cadet drivers. Looks like we're missing one of them on track right now. But looking at the warm up, you can expect to see Diesel up in the front, but then again, it's going to be back and forth between these two drivers. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they battle each other throughout the weekend in two different classes. 206 Cadet really limited on that power band. So going to be a lot more focus on kind of the mid corner because you're going to top out a little bit earlier in the straights, but you do have a long straightaway here, a couple of them. So, exit's going to be important as well. I mean, really, the whole track's important, but, a couple areas get a bit more focused than others. So, looking at the timing, Jackson McNeely is going to be leading this group away with Diesel behind them. And yeah, there you go. James Fox is out on track now. So, we're going to see all four drivers qualifying. You can see Miles Hale backed off a little bit of that group, but these two up front are going to be working together. And I think that's going to be a huge benefit because of the limitation on the power in these 206 cadet cards. Still very fast, but a little bit harder to extract that straight line speed. So the draft is really going to help out and get a little bit more. And Jax McNeely with a 41.6 to start off the session, Diesel 41.8, and Miles Hale 41.9. James Fox is going to take pole position away 41-2 and with Jackson McNeely with a 41-6. So a bit of a close qualifying already here. A little bit spread out in the back, but you can expect to see all those drivers start to bunch up throughout the session. McNeely and Maxwell working together a little bit. Um, so gonna be already down to 3.5 minutes left in the session. So is everyone going to be fast enough to pull out those lap times? Diesel is going to go fastest again with a 50.7, ready to see what James Fox is going to put over the line as it goes 50.3. So, back and forth between these guys, the gap closes and it opens. Kind of a bit of an over under with the timing pages, if you will. Cameron, who do you think is going to be the final group? Will it be the two working together? Is going to be James by himself?
Yeah, James Fox has been super impressive here today, able to run some of the quickest times that we've seen by himself in both the Mini Swift as well as this 206 cadet class. So Maxwell and McNeely doing everything they can to try to hold on to Fox. They'll cross the line this time by. The two of them will only switch. James Fox will still be your provisional pole sitter at the moment with a 50.3. See, as he crosses the line, he'll go a little bit better with a 50.1. Jackson McNeely with a 50.3 and Diesel Maxwell with a 50.6. So these two teammates seeming to work fairly well together. Looks like Diesel has a little bit more top end, struggling to hold on off those tight corners a little bit more than what would be needed if they want to truly get the best run possible. Them actually being able to be touching nose to tail across the whole lap would be considerably quicker for the two of them that time by. Looks like Maxwell was able to get a decent exit out of that final corner as they head back across the front straightaway. We'll see. Yep, Diesel Maxwell will move over his teammate and McNeely with a 50.2. So a little bit under a tenth off James Fox. That time by James Fox will not get any quicker. So with roughly a minute and a half left in this session, you see now Maxwell and McNeely working well together. We'll see if, Maxwell gets a little bit squabbled up coming out of that last corner, hits some big bumps there. So he'll slot back in to push his teammate in the A-Max machine. Those OTK machines, we'll see what they're able to do as they're headed back towards that final corner. You see they get a little bit spaced out on the infield. Seems as though Maxwell might be running just a little bit lower gear than that of McNeely. So you see Fox also starting to pop up in the bottom of your screen there, getting closer and closer to his teammate of Miles Hale. That time by McNeely will jump up to the top of the charts with a 49.8. That big push down the back straightaway from Maxwell helped him. James Fox in second with a 50.1. So now a 3/10 gap will separate McNeely from the second place of James Fox. See, a bigger gap has now formed between Maxwell and McNeely, so I wouldn't assume this lap would be any better for them. But still, with roughly 30 seconds left in this session, they will get another lap as they're heading through the final corner here and back across the straightaway. We'll see what James Fox has for them, as I believe he will also get another lap. You see him coming through that final corner there. So all four drivers on your screen still have one lap left in this session. James Fox crosses the line, 49.982. So still roughly 1/10 separates McNeely from James Fox. But you can see Fox is now caught up to the back of Hale. Those two top car drivers, we'll see what they're able to do. Now they get the draft. So we see a little bit of switch in working together between the teammates. See if Fox is able to use that toe to his advantage to put together a solid lap here as McNeely and Maxwell head through the final corner to that checkered flag. We'll see what they're able to do on their last lap.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the end of the session. James Fox did not improve on that last bit right there, so that's going to be your finishing order provisionally. Don't think we're going to get any penalties for this session, so probably going to be your final order as well for the session as we take a little step back and let the kid carts go out on track. We will rejoin you in a little bit.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Welcome to the future of kart race preparation, Kart Sim Pro North America. Featuring laser-scanned North American kart circuits and precision-tuned kart physics developed using real telemetry, dyno and tyre data, Kart Sim Pro North America delivers the most advanced and realistic kart simulation experience available today. Whether you're training for race day, refining your lines, or shaving tenths off your personal best, Kart Sim Pro gives you pro-level insight without leaving your home. Trusted by world champions, coaches, and karting enthusiasts alike, this is where virtual practice translates into real-world performance. Experience the thrill, the challenge, and the edge. Kart Sim Pro North America. Use code CHASER20 to get 20% off today.
Hey, what's up, Caleb?
What's up, Brandon?
You sound defeated. A long day at the office?
Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I went to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
That's like 20 bucks a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like 50 bucks a month.
But you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today. Cat food marketing. $9.99 a month.
Dude, Caleb, wake up. Dude, we're live in 5 minutes. Let's go. Come on. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm so sorry. Xander had me in a cat food marketing meeting till like 2 a.m. last night.
Come on, man.
Do you have anything I can drink?
Dude, I got the perfect thing for you. Perico. It's a healthy energy drink alternative.
Perico, non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, magnesium, B12, B6,
Yeah, it's good.
B5, biotin, and zero sugar?